Donnie, take it away.
Sounds good. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll restart. Okay. So Hero 470 here, you'll go in, you'll click the Unstake button. You'll have to provide an email address. Okay. You'll go through the wallet signing process. Are you all seeing the wallet signing process? MetaMask. Okay. It's funny. That's not showing up on my version of the stream. Okay. Signing again. This is a Central Kong wallet. Signing that. All right. As it goes through, you will see here that the process changed. It no longer says unstake. It will now say it's being reviewed. And I'm going to stop sharing screen because I'm not going to show the admin screen. I'm going to go approve it, and then we'll come back and show what it looks like.
In the meantime, I think I saw a question from what is this review process for unstaking? So, Anto, if you hold on to that question, um, we will go ahead and answer it a little bit later once we get through the demo. And yes, Discord is being super evil this morning, but that's okay. But yeah, hold on to that question. We can absolutely answer that for you before we head out. Ken, screen is back. All right. So I
All
think
right.
looking better.
Folks, okay, so this is the email. You'll get an email based on, of course, the email that you put in the thing. You'll get an email talking about you got a pending request. So that's one way to know. Not only does the screen change once your unstaking request has gone through, change to reviewing, but also you'll get an email confirming that it's in review. All right, on the website now, dealing with all that, I lost a little pop-up. If you had kept the website up while the hero was approved, you'd get a pop-up that actually told you the request has been approved. But let's say you walked away from the website or did what I was just playing around with, playing with your Discord video. Then when you come back, you'll see Hero 470 is no longer staked. It's no longer reviewed. It's been changed, and now it looks like any of the other heroes that aren't staked. You have the option to go back in and stake it again if you choose, or at this point, it's in your wallet. It's been transferred over. If we go to a Mutascan, it should. IMX is a little slow sometimes. Yep, actually, there you go. Yeah, so we can see on a Mutascan right here. So this is Hero 470. 50 minutes ago, I staked this hero from the Kong wallet there. And 3 minutes ago, it got approved and it transferred from the Kong Central wallet back to the basically my account. Basically, right back here. So you can see it transferred back there. It's in the wallet there. And you can even see some of the stats on here. Some of these were already there. Now you start to see some of the new ones, like what level it is in BHQ, the name, on here, it's not showing everything. If you go list it in the marketplace, you'll see all the different stats that are on there that we showed. I showed a picture of it in Discord yesterday. And then on top of that, you will get an email that says also to notify you when the unstaking's gone through. You get an email saying your unstaking has been approved. And there you go. You have it. It's been transferred to your wallet. So that is the unstaking process from the user's perspective. It's relatively straightforward.
Awesome. Thank you for running us through that. As y'all can see, it's actually a relatively straightforward feature. I think the only time this would deviate would be if, now this is going to lead into, I'm sure, some of the question that Anto had asked earlier. Basically, what is the reviewing process? Why do we do this? There is a chance that you, if you have been less than on the up and up with your gameplay, end up on a slightly different path where functionally the review process serves as a check for us to help ensure that we don't have folks doing unsavory things with their gameplay. And by unsavory things, I do not mean you grinded really hard and gained a bunch of levels, or anything that would be in normal gameplay parameters. I mean things that are like, um you have I mean things that are incredibly obvious. You can solo world bosses at level 2 kind of nonsense. So anyway, the team has worked really hard to implement functionally both tech systems and human review on top of that to help make sure that when folks unstake their stuff, as mentioned in the guide that I posted last Friday, um, that during this check, everything is found to be um, found to basically be that you're not cheating. I keep trying to find delicate ways to put that, but that's really the crux of it. And the reason we do this is because if folks were cheating and then, let's say unstaking and reselling their heroes, that would be very problematic for the person who possibly acquired that hero. Um, it could be very damaging, and that's obviously we want to protect the integrity of the Bitverse heroes. And this system allows us to do that. Donnie, I'm sure maybe you might have some more insights about this that you want to share, or any comments or anything you want to add. But basically, the reassurance I want to give folks is just that this is not it's not something that's going to get triggered just by grinding particularly hard. Bugs occurring won't trip it up. Um, and anyway, I'm going to let Donnie kind of take it from here because Donnie understands the system on a deeper level than I do. But basically, it is a check to make sure that folks are not cheating and then reselling those things.
Yeah, thanks, Juniper. Yeah, I mean, you hit most of it. You hit the nail on the head, I would say, with pretty much everything you said there. I can elaborate a little bit, though. Right, I know most people look at this and probably think of it from the negative aspect of, oh no, what happens to me? Like, what if I get it as a false positive? But that's really the wrong way to look at it. It's really a positive thing for those who have made an investment in one of these characters and not only purchasing an NFT up front, but also putting time into the game, potentially money into the game, leveling up these characters. It would be unfair to you if someone was able to find an exploit. Now, we're not aware of any exploits right now. If we were, we'd fix them. But um, if someone was to one day find one, it would be completely unfair to everyone who's made an investment and ruin the value of their investment if someone's able to go make a level 1000 character in 5 minutes, right? And turn around and start selling them on the marketplaces. So this whole thing really is to protect the investment of everyone who's come along with the Bitverse. If I can think of like one specific use case that that's something that we're checking for, and one of them could be, I mean, I'm sure folks are aware. We have customer service agents, and we have an admin panel to help folks out. If they need something got missed, whatever. We have the admin panel to be able to go in and rectify things in the game. Well, what if someone was to able to get into the admin panel and provide their NFT character a whole bunch of free stuff, level their character up, provide them top tier gear, everything, and then turn around and go try to sell one or 100 of these NFTs. And so the exploit check is really to kind of cut those avenues off. It's to find those particular types of use cases and be able to stop them from ruining the value of the NFTs for everyone else who've kind of played by the rules or just used them in a normal type of fashion. It is not at all to go catch super players who just leveled up their characters really fast. I'll actually tell a funny story. At the beginning, when we were hashing this out back in November, December, we had started to think about, hey, why don't we look at the data? Let's be smart. Why don't we look at the data and look at how quickly folks actually level up their characters on average? And let's make some lines and let's figure out where the outliers are. And that can be something we use to look at this exploit here. And I remember thinking about that and coming up with some stuff and feeling really, really smart, having come up with the idea. And everyone around is like, oh, yeah, this is great. This is great. And so we were starting to go down that path. And within the first day after Heroes were launched in BHQ, we started looking at the data. And I think the first day, and maybe it's someone in the audience, I can't remember who it was, had already leveled up an NFT character up to like level 113 within 24 hours, just completely blowing out all the models that we had been starting to think about and everything. And it actually caused one of our lead devs to go, do we already have someone cheating or is this a real thing? So they looked in and said, no, actually, this is all completely legit and everything. And it was like, oh, well, that brilliant model and everything we had thought about is completely inaccurate now. And the reason is one thing we had assumed was we had forgotten that most of that data based on players and how quickly they level up are from new players who are still learning the game. We didn't really have hardly any data on experienced players who were starting new accounts and
Hmm.
replaying the game again with all of the learnings they had already gained from having a super souped up character. And so we had to kind of go back to the drawing board and rethink it and make sure we're not catching, our really experienced players who are just playing the game really well. We have some automated checking in the background, but we've added that manual portion to it to make sure that our automated checking isn't creating false positives and catching players who are just really, really good at the game.
And yes, I see somebody mention speedruns as an example of high level players and their ability to get through things. You are absolutely correct. That is actually part of what we looked at. When Donnie's mentioning early on in the process, we were thinking through this. This was very early on in the process. We were in
Like
the
November.
ideation phase, and part of what we did actually end up deciding to do was to look at data from things like speedruns, so we could get a better understanding and opted to go with a different system. Um, but yes, I do see that. I do see that question. So just so y'all know, that is that is data that we've taken a look at. We know that you guys are absolutely exceptional when it comes to grinding, which is, that's, I think that's part of what makes our high level players. Um, I do see some cool questions in here though, so let me go ahead and scroll back up to the top real quick. So somebody asked a question about mutes, and they wanted to know if mutes go with the account. To my understanding, um, and this may be something, this is a really good point, and we will all go after this to chat as a team. So typically mutes stay with the hero that was muted, if that makes sense. Um, we need to go and take a quick peek as to how that works for our NFT heroes when we're talking about reselling things. Because if somebody has managed to catch themselves a permanent mute for being particularly uncool, um, we wouldn't want that necessarily being transferred over to another person. So I will just go ahead and say that that's something we'll look into, but it's supposed to be hero specific, not account specific. So just throwing that out there, but we will go ahead and look into it and get back to y'all with information once we know. And then the next question I see here from Bald is why would you want to stake or unstake? Paul or Donnie, do one of you two want to take this one?
Yeah, I can jump in. So staking is how you actually get the character into the game to be able to play it. So the reason you would want stake is if you want to use that NFT hero in quest, arena, or runner, you have to stake it. That allows you to utilize it in the game. It'll start showing up in your account. And you can play with it. The reasons for unstaking are if you are tired of playing with it in the game, or maybe tired of playing it within a particular account. At that point, you would unstake it, removing it from the centralized Kong wallet back to your wallet, and then you have control over it. And at that point, you can sell it to someone else, trade it, burn it, just transfer a different account, give it to a friend. You can do whatever it is you want to do with that NFT at that point. But it won't be usable in the game once it's been unstaked. Now again, you can restake it to use it.
All right. And then I see a question here from Cherub asking if it's possible to request a reset for NFT heroes.
So I got this one. Um, no, NFT content is permanent, and resetting data, from my understanding, on an NFT is a form of fraud. So we will not be doing that.
Um, well, we have. I think the question is more around like the idea of speed runs or want to redo a character. Like maybe you made it past. Maybe you wanted to stay in tier 2 and you accidentally made it to tier 3 or whatever. Um, at this point, that is not possible. And like Paul said, there's reasons why. However, we have been brainstorming whether that is something we could add in the future. There are some regulatory potential hurdles we have to look at. There's also technical challenges as well. But that is something we have like on a brainstormed list somewhere for us to look into later.
And then I see here a question from Nathan. Can NFTs take part in future speedrunning events? All right, so I'm gonna just give a really high level answer to this. We know that it would not necessarily be fair for NFT heroes to be in the same pool as basic heroes, regular heroes that are not NFTs. That being said, we have plans to address that and take that into consideration so it remains fair while still allowing NFT heroes to participate in their own way and basic heroes to participate in theirs. This is part of what's kind of made speedrun uh, take longer to come to fruition than we had originally planned because we have some logistical hurdles to work out on that front. But high level, we are aware that pooling everybody into the same one would not necessarily be the right answer. And the future iterations of speedruns will take that into consideration. So high level answer on that one.
And that's a lovingly cryptic answer. I like that. Hopefully the community, and you did throw some tidbits in there, the community can pay attention to some of the breadcrumbs you left behind there. It's definitely something we've been talking about. It is being worked on in the background. Unstaking was taking high priority above everything else, but it has been something we've been discussing in the background. And yeah, I think there will be something in the future related to this.
And then there is a question here asking, can I move my entire wallet as long as I bug support? We tried this initially when we thought you could connect one wallet to two accounts and stake what we wanted to each. So I think this would be the linking and unlinking of wallets to congregate accounts. Can I move my entire wallet as long as I bug support? We tried this initially when we thought you could connect one wallet to two accounts and stake what we wanted to each. So I have a feeling the entire wallet is referring to the fact that they own multiple NFTs in that wallet. So could they move that to a new congregate account?
The wallet, an entire wallet, can only be tied to one congregate account at a time. Now you can move a wallet from Kong account A to Kong account B, and that will move all of the heroes that are in Kong account A to Kong account B. Um, if you want to have, if you're someone who has multiple NFT heroes and you want them split amongst two different congregate accounts, you'll need to create two different wallets and have wallet 1 connected to Kong A and wallet 2 connected to Kong B with the appropriate heroes in each of the wallets.
Awesome. Hopefully, I think that was what they were getting at. Thank you for that. And then I see a question here from Nathan, who's saying, with various ranks of demand, will there be development to see in depth what a NFT has on the market? And then the example here is basically like the detail of the myth mats they have on their account, colors. Um, Basically, how can they check to see what a player's stats are when reselling?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I mean, in an ideal state and long term, I think we've even mentioned this in previous AMAs. Like each hero may have its own wiki type page in a way, and a player can just go look up the hero and see everything related to it. Not only in game material, but potentially even maybe contests that hero would have won. Now that's long term. We haven't been able to put that anywhere on the roadmap right now. In the short term, based on some community feedback or actually a community suggestion, we did include the hero tag, the hero name in the metadata for Quest. So you are able to then go into the game and look up that hero and see everything in that hero's inventory. Um, the other piece I would bring up, and I brought this up in Discord yesterday, and Jorge had brought this up on previous AMAs and live streams, is we are also open to working with the community if we wanted to somehow get help creating a special tool to potentially be able to pull up this data. So that's something that can be discussed. I think we had two people that may have somewhat be interested, and that can have we can start having some discussions here in the future around that, and maybe we can get some sort of tool up where you can just go enter the hero NFT number in and find something. But that will be coming in the future, or would be.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you for that. And then I see a question here. I'm not sure if we have details on this one, so I apologize if I'm putting you in a tough spot here. I do see Sean asking a question about the status of the previous NFT promises, pets, mounts, and I believe the answer is we have made progress and they are coming, but I'm not sure if we can add more detail than that.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have dates on any of those. Unstaking has been the top priority. I mean, yeah, everyone knows we had thought we'd be able to get unstaking out in Q1, and that didn't happen. And here we are, May 2nd. We're about to launch it tomorrow, May 3rd. Um, Unstaking was deemed the highest perk and the highest priority so that folks can get their NFTs back and have the true ownership. And so that's kind of sucked out some of the oxygen from some of these other perks. Once Unstaking goes live tomorrow, and crossing my fingers, no issues, everything works magically, perfectly, um, then attention will start turning towards knocking out some of those other perks.
Awesome. All right. And then I see a question here from Juan. Now that unstaking is done, will we get a higher priority on zeals and badges being shared? So basically, they're currently hero bound, I believe, and we've been working on getting those to be ones that are shared across the account. I think Paul can probably speak to this a little bit. I can say from the community side of things, we were actually planning on discussing this as a team as a team today. This is a topic that was going to be coming up. I can also say that the past, I think it's pretty known to a lot of folks in here that for like, the past a couple weeks, past month or so, we've been fighting some fires. We've been working on fixing some bugs. We've been working on features like unstaking. We had a couple weeks, I don't want to say lost, but that were eaten up by rollback compensation and things tied to that. There's been a lot of very critical bugs recently that have needed to be addressed along with some critical features. The reason I bring this up is because what that does sometimes is it can push the like things that are slightly less critical can be pushed out a little bit. Not that they aren't important. We just have to sometimes prioritize which fire needs to be put out first. And in this particular case, I think now that we have a little bit more room and those things have been dealt with and things like unstaking are about to go out the door on the 3rd. So that's tomorrow. So it's coming to, which is super exciting, by the way. Um, but now that those things are kind of shipping, we will have more room to discuss adjusting priority of things like getting zeals and badges shared across the accounts, because that is a bug. That's not how they're currently intended to be working. But Paul, I'm not sure if you wanted to speak to that a little bit.
No, you covered it very well. Better than I was planning, or could have been able to. But I assure you, it's in our Jira. There is a solid ticket. It's being worked on. The producers know I want it taken care of, and it's being worked on. But as was just stated, there unfortunately just have been an avalanche of things that needed to take priority. But it's on our radar. We are working on it. I promise.
Yes. So hopefully that helps a little bit with that particular question, because and thank you to everyone who's been super patient on that front. We really do appreciate it. Y'all are amazing, and just thank you for being with us on this ride. Are there any other questions though? I'm kind of scanning through and I want to make sure I didn't miss any. But before we kind of wrap things up, is there any other last call for questions in chat? Congratulations on the Bitverse hero sales these last 2 weeks. It has taken off. We're really, really excited to see the existing community adopting these more. They have a lot of perks if you're a Bit Heroes Quest player in particular. Obviously, the other games have the interoperability too, but particularly for BHQ, there's a lot of perks. There's a lot of great reasons to own one of these. And we're excited that the players are seeing them as something valuable to have and something that's helping their gameplay, and we will keep on working on making them an awesome experience. But thank you very much for the congratulations. Mostly we are just happy that they're resonating with our existing player base. Was this live stream recorded? I missed the first 30 minutes. Yes, this was recorded. We may end up splicing together a bit of a video because I think some of the Discords basically was bugged for the first little part of this session, and it wasn't showing the live demo to everybody. So we'll probably put something together for that. But the audio has all been recorded, so we can go ahead and share that with the community if you weren't able to be here for the full session. Oh, wonderful. Hunter recorded it. There we go. So yes, this will be up on our YouTube soon. All right, final call. Any other questions? Is buying an NFT for $110 the only way to make multiple characters that share the same inventory? Yes. I believe the short answer to that is
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So sometimes those have longer answers, sometimes they're short. This one is just a yes. How
Hey,
will the hero bound zeals work with unstaking? Will they go to the basic hero attached or will they go to the new buyer?
Well, if it's hero bound, it'll go to, uh, well, sorry, the consumable himself. If it's hero bound, it stays with the hero. If it's player bound, it goes to the player.
Is there a line you guys are trying to draw with the perks that NFTs give? What I think you might be referring to here is the basically the benefits you gain as a BHQ player, Gwen. I think that's what you're referring to. And I think the line, as we've mentioned, is, we try to not make them excessively overpowered compared to that's the promise that we've worked really hard to be true to, is to not make them excessively overpowered compared to a regular hero. But maybe there are other lines that I'm not aware of that Paul and Donnie would like to speak to.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's the main one. We just want them to fit holistically into the
Yeah.
existing ecosystem and gameplay.
Yeah, we want to provide value to folks who do purchase them, just like any in-game purchase we have. But like Juniper said, we don't want to make them overpowered or a requirement for someone to be able to compete in the game.
Any chance on a general roadmap that can be shared? So I'm going to speak to this one. Um, so here's the challenge with the general roadmap. NFTs, Bitverse Heroes, are brand new for us as a team. It's an amazing experience and we're learning so much along the way and, in the process as we develop these things. But because they are brand new, we can, like with unstaking, run into unforeseen technical challenges that, we do our best to try to plan for and foresee. But sometimes what that ends up happening is we can end up sharing a roadmap, and that roadmap needs to change because of things we discover in the development process, or that roadmap perhaps gets pushed around or things get adjusted. There is this very delicate balance that we have to keep in mind, which is basically not over promising things to the community and constantly leaving y'all in a state of disappointment if those end up being adjusted, moved, changed around, etc. Our goal is to always try to get to a place where these things are more predictable. So in an ideal world, we could share this. However, currently with this just being so new, I am wary as the the senior community manager, I am wary about sharing too much roadmap information just because sometimes these things are subject to change, and sometimes that's really hard for the community um, to come to terms with sometimes, and that's understandable too. So when we can, when there are features that we feel confident in, we can share information. But generally speaking, we would prefer to say less and over deliver in this regard. But of course, Donnie and Paul can always override me. But I think generally speaking, we would maybe not want to do that for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to publish dates or anything to your point, Juniper. We are in the process of revising the white paper and have a new version of that with an updated roadmap, but it's not going to have details of like when is gem bonus going to get delivered, when is perk Y, X, Y, and Z going to get delivered. It's not going to have necessary dates or anything like that in that type of detail for the reasons that Juniper outlined. But we believe that now that unstaking will be launching and hopefully our developers will start freeing up more time, they will be able to start putting more time into these things like Paul was discussing earlier around the zeals.
And then I see a question from Crypto here. When is Bid Heroes Runner and Arena coming to mobile? I can't speak to Arena, but I can say Runner is coming very, very soon. Um, I think we are doing tests currently. We're finishing up some testing in certain countries, and it is right around the corner. Marketing might kill me if I dropped the date, so I'm not going to do that. But I can assure you guys the mobile version of Runner is literally right around the corner. So it's super exciting. It's been playing really good. We've done both games have actually had an enormous number of bug fixes go in, like an enormous number. If you're an international player in particular, and you have tried Arena in the past and had some lag, that should have been resolved. We fixed the way the servers were working. We fixed a lot of bugs. So just as a general thing for the folks in here, definitely go give those two games a try again. They've made so much progress since they first made their appearance. So we think you guys will really like them. And then let me see. Let's see, are there any other questions? Oh, Kruniak, we did already kind of touch on the Gen Zero mounts and pets. The answer to that is basically it's still being worked on. Nothing has been forgotten about. This aspect of the Bitverse is incredibly important to us. The answer basically earlier was that unstaking ended up using up a massive amount of our resources to get this out the door, which kind of delayed some other things that we had planned. So our hope is to be able to deliver those soon. And then I see a comment here as well. Please don't remove the old white paper. Update, but keep the old one around for basically posterity, because it helps with transparency and trust. So I think that's a fair call out, and definitely feedback that we will take into consideration.
Yeah, I can't. We hosted on Gitbook. I can't quite remember how Gitbook treats old ones. We did include it. We started including a change log when we did the revision last summer. So at the very least, this one will have a change log. But I'll have to look at how Gitbook does older versions.
But yes, the change to the white paper is definitely not meant to be like a sweeping anything under the rug. So it'll be, there versions of it will, I'm sure, be accessible in certain places. So we'll figure that one out. And then Roasty, Sunday Bug Day is no more. Fingers crossed it never happens again. I'm gonna knock on wood though. We actually made a lot of not without getting too technical, we made some improvements to the server. That was another one of those critical things that we've been working on, to help them basically not get knocked down over the weekend when we get flooded with traffic. So we have more server power going on, and now the game on Sundays seems to be doing okay. But again, we're just gonna knock on wood to make sure because I'm superstitious, but um, hopefully that is behind us and it is smooth sailing from here on out. Um, and then a question from Balt. This will be our last one before we wrap up. Will the cost of NFTs ever go down? Donnie, I feel like that's a fun one for you.
Well, we can't say for market prices in terms of how the community values them. Once Unstaking goes live, people are going to be free to list heroes for whatever price they would like. And so we don't have any control over that. So I certainly can't promise that the community is not going to put a lower price tag on them than what we have. As far as heroes we sell, we had made the promise and plan to stick towards it that the heroes that we had for the early generations with the perks that they're going to have will be the cheapest that we're ever going to sell that type of package. As we look to do a Gen 2, Gen 3 down the road, they might have different perk packages associated with them, and we'll have to scale the cost appropriately. But that's kind of our thought. We're not planning to go and lower pricing across the board or anything like that for similar type of heroes or anything like that.
All right. Well, then I think we did a super solid number of questions, and I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to stop by and hang out with us this morning. We appreciate you. It's been really wonderful to connect with the community. Again, thank you for your patience with unstaking, and we are very excited for its release tomorrow. Once it is live, what we will be doing is posting an announcement to folks so you're not just sitting there refreshing your screens. We will post an announcement once it's up and live and ready for folks to jump into. Keep an eye out for that. But outside of that, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you to Paul and Donnie for sitting down with us this morning. Um, and again, thank you to everybody who stopped by. Our next community event will be on Friday at 5 p.m. PST. We're going to be playing some Among Us with attendees since we weren't able to last week. But we will see you then, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, everyone.